Phasia Shaheen has been deselected as Labour's candidate for Chingford and Woodford Green at the general election over a series of past posts on social media, in what critics dubbed a selections purge of one of the party's most left-wing candidates. Shadow Minister Darren Jones told the BBC on Thursday, "This isn't a purge," and that MPs standing included some who would define themselves as being on the left. But the deselection of Shaheen, who was picked as the candidate for a second time to take on Ian Duncan Smith back in 2022, came just hours after Lloyd Russell Moyle was also deselected by Labour's National Executive Committee on Wednesday, and a row over the fate of Diane Abbott. Abbott said on X, "Whose clever idea has it been to have a cull of left-wingers? It means local parties will see new candidates appointed by Labour's National Executive Committee, rather than through the local party or regional office, with just weeks to go until the general election." The decisions came as Labour also picked senior Keir Starmer allies Josh Simons and Luke Akehurst as retirement seat candidates and handed general election candidacies to Westminster journalist Paul Waugh, Camden Council leader Georgia Gould and a former Rachel Reeves advisor. In an interview with Newsnight, Shaheen said she was in a bit of a state of shock at being treated this badly, having just receiving an email that saying her candidacy had been blocked. Shaheen said, "I was on doors, knocking, 6 weeks after my baby was born. I have put so much effort into that seat." The party has not confirmed what posts the decision related to, but Shaheen said she had apologized at a disciplinary hearing this week for liking a tweet that plays into a trope about Jewish people. She said another post involved her describing her experiences of Islamophobia. The Labour Muslim network criticized the decision as unacceptable, and said, to use her tweets accounting personal experience of Islamophobia as evidence for deselection is utterly outrageous. The news came after a row and confusion over whether Diane Abbott would be allowed to stand for re-election as a Labour candidate. Abbott told supporters at a protest at Hackney Town Hall last night that she would continue as MP for as long as it is possible. Former Cabinet Minister Claire Short last night said Abbott had been treated unforgivably. A Labour list poll of some 2,500 of our readers saw 75% say she should be able to rest and another 11% say her local party should decide, 2% say the party or whips should decide, and only 11% say she should be blocked. It also came just hours after Brighton Kemptown MP Lloyd Russell Moyle was suspended from the party pending the outcome of an investigation into a complaint submitted last week. One local Labour source told Labour List, Lloyd successfully managed to keep the Green threat at bay for multiple elections. If they parachute one of their right-wing councillor friends from London like they have in other places along the south coast, then there will be a significant electoral backlash. A spokesman for Momentum said the latest deselections amounted to a purge. Left-wing women of colour like Diane Abbott and Phasia Shaheen are being targeted for deselection by Team Starmer, against the wishes of their local parties, the spokesman said. Daily Mirror associate editor Jason Beattie said a ruthless realignment of Labour is taking place under Starmer that is more far-reaching than anything attempted by Tony Blair, adding, while Blair accommodated the left, Starmer is purging them in his quest to establish a party permanently camped on the centre ground. One Chingford and Wood Green party source condemned the probe as devious when Shaheen had campaigned assiduously and fundraised successfully despite the challenges of combining it with being a new mother, and suggested she had been confronted, totally out of the blue, with the allegations at the last minute before the election. They suggested IDS would be laughing all the way to the polling station, fighting a CLP, totally geared up to getting Phasia elected. Labour was not immediately available for comment. This surely is not the way to run the party. But one unnamed Labour official told Politico, "We'd much rather get this news out the way now so it doesn't distract next week. Let this week be the controversial impositions, it's happened under every leader." A Labour Party spokesperson said, "We have selected a fantastic group of candidates in place for the general election on Thursday the 4th of July. They will be campaigning across the country to bring Labour's message of change to voters." A party source added that the Prime Minister calling a surprise summer election meant selections needed to take place through emergency procedures to make sure everyone had a chance to vote Labour.